Hi everyone, Sajid Amit here. So I'm very excited to bring you my video of the ZMF Caldera or Caldera. I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced. I've just come across one video by Zach where he calls it Caldera, which sounds cooler to me. But yeah, I mean, Caldera or Caldera comes in the usual ZMF affair, a very sturdy seahorse case. I just want to first tell you what this is about and what I'm doing with this video, etc. Because a lot of you who follow my work will know that I'm not doing headphones anymore. I'm not doing headphone reviews anymore for a whole variety of reasons I don't want to get into, especially to do with health. I have made a successful transition to IEMs and I'm loving my IEM journey. I have dropped a few reviews like recently, like I dropped a review of the Aroma Audio Jewel, which I really like. Check it out. And a few others are coming your way, etc. But so when I saw this, and because I saw some people talk about or compare the Caldera or the Caldera with the Susvara, which was my erstwhile favorite headphone, along with a few others, of course, I just couldn't resist. I had to get in touch with Zach, so I'm considering buying this. I got this in as a loaner unit, and yeah, if I like it, I'm just gonna snap it up. I'm just very excited by this because all the first impressions of the Caldera are saying things like it's breaking a trend, and it doesn't sound like the other ZMFs, but then it does. So it's just a very unique combination of having some preservation of the house sound while being a bit of a departure. I'm struggling with opening this case, as you can see, not strong enough, I guess, but finally it's open. Yeah, so very excited to bring this in. A big shout out to Zach for sending this to me, sort of hot off the press, so to speak. I think this was launched on the 22nd. I've not listened to this, so that's the sort of thing that excites me most about this video. I've not listened to this at all. As you saw me sort of, I guess to some extent fumbling my way through the previous video with the Aroma Audio Jewel when, I was listening to the Jewel for the first time. The same applies here. I've never listened to the Caldera. I'm going to be doing live impressions. I'm not sure if that's going to be fun for you, but it's going to be fun for me for sure. So what happens with live impressions, especially because I try to be honest to my, sort of impressions, they can change as I listen to 4 or 5 tracks. And I'm going to sort of think out loud. I'm human, so I might go through a couple of tracks and be like, hey, I don't like this, but then I might try a few more tracks and then change my mind because I feel like that's important. I have friends who come over and listen to like 1 or 2 gears and be like, hey, I don't like this, this is bright or this is warm. I do think it takes time to form an opinion. So this is going to be a first impressions video. So take that with that massive caveat. I'll share my views as I play 4, 5, 10 tracks, etc. And then, I'll of course drop another video later on. So this is going to be just first impressions, live impressions, stream of consciousness, call it what you will. The sources I'll use will include this DAP because it has paired well in the past with other ZMF headphones for no other reasons, but I do suspect this might not be able to drive a planar to its fullest capacity, so I have something stronger, more powerful handy. After trying it with this DAP, I'm going to be trying it with my Diablo, which is super powerful, 4 watts or something if I recall correctly. It drives Susvara and the TC to a reasonable degree of performance, so it should be able to drive the Caldera to some extent or to an appreciable extent. But that's not all, guys. In my second video, I'll have driven the Caldera with my i5 Pro iCan signature, which is 14 watts, a super powerful amplifier, one of the best desktop amplifiers out there. So just so you know, I'll be trying a variety of amps. I'm going to be opening the case for the first time, and as usual, standard ZMF affair, very nicely. Oops, I felt like it was going to trap my thumb on its way down. Very nicely packed in and all that. The first thing that comes to mind is, maybe this is a new pouch. It's a pretty large pouch. Which is not necessarily a very interesting observation, but I'm going to see what's inside nonetheless. And it's a nicely braided cable. The braiding looks like it's of a higher quality than I've seen in the past. So it's a nice, thick, premium looking, I dare say, cable with an XLR, with 2 cables, an XLR and of course a 1/4 inch. It is a planar, so you will be using a lot of different amps that you benefit from an XLR connection, I'm sure. And of course the 1/4 inches here. I'm just gonna take out the cables just to get ready for it to listen. So that's a cable. like I said, it actually looks nicer than most stock cables, honestly, guys. I mean, you might not even want to upgrade if you're not one of those cable roller types, which I happen to be. Um, the second thing that comes to mind is how um, this has a slightly different look from other ZMFs, and I'll explain what I mean. And of course, there are two sets of pads. Thank you, Zach, for sending these extra set of pads as well. I guess that's standard fare for ZMF. Let me talk about the aesthetics in a second after I put this box away. It was a loud snap. So, firstly, this pattern, the Caldera pattern, this pattern is what I'm talking about, is much nicer in real life, in the sense that it's nice to the point that I feel like I could keep staring at it. I mean, light glistens off it. It's just a fabulously done pattern. So I don't know where Zach gets his patterns, but they're all so well done. Even the atrium was phenomenal. This wood, I have to admit, I forgot to check what wood this is. It does look different. I've heard somewhere it's oak, but I'm going to double check on that. It's a lighter shade of wood. It's nice. The pads also look very different. I think they have more depth, and they look wonderful. This headband system also looks like, yeah, it's the newer style, so there's a lot more cushioning on it. So with ZMF, of course, the sort of build quality and aesthetics you get is unsurpassable. I mean, guys, I know we all love Zach, and hopefully Zach loves us. And Zach is great. I'm kidding. Zach does like his fellow audiophiles, and that's evident from talking to Zach, because he's one of those guys who's going to praise other manufacturers, who shows off a Susvara in his videos. I mean, the guy's amazing. Like, there are a lot of other manufacturers who you'll notice will never ever talk about other manufacturers. Like, let's say you ask them like what other headphones they like or what other manufacturers they like, they'll be mum about it. Zach, on the other hand, will talk about how he gets inspired by the 650. He'll openly talk about how the atrium is the ZMF neutral and it's the 650, 600 sound. He'll talk about other headphones he loves. He'll talk about, what paired with the Susvara well. I mean, Zach is amazing. So I really appreciate, that. And I really appreciate how he gives you this phenomenal build quality and comfort every goddamn time, while constantly innovating. And so this is like $3,500, if I'm not mistaken, which is, going by current standards of planars, which is like the $6,000 price point, is basically what you need to price your headphones at if you have to be taken seriously and be considered in the same league as Susvara or TC. It's evident ZMF doesn't care. He prices it for whatever he thinks these are worth, and phenomenal pricing. I see all this without having tried it, but with the prior knowledge that it's supposed to be the same level, if not better than the atriums and others. This is my adapter sort of case. I'm going to be using an adapter with this because I will convert this guy into something that I can, try with my, so I'm going to be converting the 1/4 inch into 3.5 and then plugging it into my DAB. And then after listening to my DAB, which is obviously something I'm quite sure will hold the Caldera back, you might be wondering why I'm wasting my time trying it off a DAB, just to see how much it scales, guys. It's fun for me. It's one of those things that I do when I feel like I want to nerd out, just to sort of assess how much it scales. Not a biggie. And I'll plug in my Diablo at the same time, so it's ready to go. The Diablo is, of course, something that will drive, like I said, the Caldera better. I'm going to be using my iPad with the Diablo. So even the transport like an iPad has a certain effect in terms of coloring the sound. That's something I'm pretty confident of, because I don't think you need measurements to understand that. Like, the transport makes a big difference, and I can perceive the difference. It's not a small difference. It's not like the tonality shifts or anything, but I do perceive a certain, perhaps enhancement of the entire tonality, either by making the treble more clear or the bass slightly slower, etc. So that does happen with transport, for me at least. All right, guys. So I'm plugged in and ready to go. The first source gear that I'm trying the Caldera with is, of course, a very humble DAB. only because I want to. And then I'll try it off the Diablo, and then finally I will try the Caldera or the Caldera off the Pro Icon, which is not going to happen on this video, so stay tuned for that one. That'll be the final version of this video, or the final impression, so to speak. Right and left, I feel like I should adjust the yoke a bit to accommodate my rather ample head. Very excited to try this. Right and left. Here we go. This is what it looks like. I don't often wear glasses, but if you do, it doesn't matter with ZMFs. This is what it looks like. I'm going to be trying, the first track I'm going to be trying is Runaway by Aurora, right? From All My Demons Greeting Me album. It's a beautiful song. Check this song out. Lovely female vocals track. Haunting even. All right. Here it goes. Of course, it doesn't have the volume. So it does. In a certain sense, it does. Around 122, I get a decent volume. I can... with this tab, I can go up to, I think, 150. But around 125, I feel like it's fine in terms of loudness. Not necessarily sound quality. Just give me 2 minutes to listen to this. Or a few seconds. Outstanding soundstage. Outstanding. The comfort here is just phenomenal. It's got the ZMF warmth. So for those of you wondering if by making a planar, if Zach has made a bright sounding headphone, he's not. It's a warm headphone. It's not as warm. It's not as warm as the Atrium. Why not? I sense that that mid-bass warmth is perhaps a slightly less pronounced. But it's a beautiful, beautiful headphone for vocals. It's just, it's just enchanting. She sounds magnificent on this. She sounds magnificent on this. Jesus Christ, this is crazy vocals. I'm tearing up just a bit. Off a dab. Yeah, and the speed and timing and pacing and the dynamics is extremely amazing. It's a very, so it's got the planar snappiness, so to speak, or pluckiness, as Andrew/Resolve calls it. But at the same time, since it's a planar, it has the tonal weight and density of his dynamic drivers, of Zach's dynamic drivers. It's crazy. It's a crazy headphone. I'm going to try a rock track, not well mastered, but just to see how dynamic and punchy it is. It's Bruce Dickinson's Dark Side of the Aquarius from the Accent of Birth album. Very spacious. So when it comes to this level of soundstage, even of this DAP, which does hold back soundstage, I promise you, I honestly feel like, given my experience in the hobby, which has been, I hope, substantial, you really shouldn't be nitpicking between a Susvara and this, honestly. Because they're wide, they're deep, they're holographic, image placement is fabulous, image placement is crystalline, distinct. I do think the Abyss 12-6 takes it up a notch in terms of soundstage, beyond sort of Susvara level. And then the Raw SR1A takes it up to another notch. But for the rest of us, for the rest of the Summit Fi headphones, this is up there with soundstage and imaging. Supreme bass. The bass is awesome, guys. It's punchy, it's impactful, it's dynamic, and off a dap again. It's crazy, crazy stuff, Zach. Awesome. Might be Zach's masterpiece yet. Of course, I'm just 2 songs into it, so, you know, what do I know? Tantric, The Chain. The song I know very well. Wow, great bass. Very realistic bass. Extreme resolution. Wow. So I have a Susvara. I'm going to A/B this with. So next video is going to be an A/B with a Susvara. But the resolution, I feel like it's up there with the Susvara. So the guys, a couple of guys who have sold Susvara because of this, their decision does not sound as arbitrary anymore. Scary good. Great dynamics. The sort of shift from the quieter part of the track to the louder part of the track was so well done. He's nailed it. All right, before I get too carried away, I just want to listen to it from a more powerful source, which is the Diablo. Whew. Jesus, this was something else, guys. Diablo is up and running, and as is my DAP. I mean, not my DAP, but my tab, my iPad. Yeah, so I have my iPad here going into my iFi Diablo, this red thingy, and we are ready to go. My titles here. If you want to take a look at my tracks, I have Brandy Carlisle. I think I have Dio. I have, what else do I have? The Game, and etc. I don't listen to the Game as much, but it's popped up in any case. All right, so I'm going to start up with I'm checking out my most listened tracks. Maybe I'll listen to the same tracks. So I'll play Tantrix, The Chain. So I can do what I wanted to do, which is essentially track how much it scales. And yeah. Okay. Just 1 second. Guys, I mean, I love ZMF. I'm a big ZMF fan, but I feel like this could be at a different level of performance. Just so you know. Playing Tantrix, The Chain. Just a bigger sound of my tab because the soundstage becomes bigger. The soundstage here is phenomenal. I do think that the upper mids are perhaps, thankfully, not as pronounced as the 650, 600 sort of upper mids sort of forwardness. So it's not Harman tuned. Thank God for that. Over time, over the last 3 years that I'm listening to music of high-end stuff, I have come to develop an aversion towards Harman in certain cases. For some reason, I know a lot of people say that Harman doesn't work for IMs because the upper mid seems shouty on IMs, but on headphones it's fine. I don't agree. I feel like on certain IMs, even the upper mid shout can be palatable. It really depends on the rest of the frequency spectrum. And on certain IMs, you want the upper mids to be slightly more relaxed than Harman. On headphones, I'm yet to find one headphone that sounds good to me with the sort of Harman upper mids peak. And the whole sampling with Harman, I think, is questionable. With all due respect to you guys, you've done a lot for the hobby, so don't make me, sound like I'm making light of it. But just my subjective experience with tonality. All right, so this is enough for first impressions. Off my Diablo, it sounds bigger, wider, more dynamic, and just a bigger sound. So where I'm going to end this review with is this is a supreme first impressions for me. It does everything. It doesn't have the upper mid shout of the 650, 600 type, HD 650, 600 type frequency response. It doesn't have the added bloom or mid bass warmth that you might love, and I do with my ZMF Verite closed or other ZMF headphones. Its bass is extremely well extended, perhaps the most extended bass that I've heard on a ZMF headphone, and it does remind me of a planar. Its treble is airy. It does have a lot more air than I've experienced with other ZMF headphones. Like I've noticed endless air. So when properly amped, I'm getting a massive soundstage, an open experience, and the best of both worlds. The planar snappiness, speed, and I dare say airiness with the ZMF dynamism, the dynamic nature, the punch, the slam, the tonal thickness, and all that. if you've seen the entirety of this video, you might have seen me get a tad, I guess, excited when listening to this, and you know, I'm still very excited, which is the reason why I want to sort of end this video and I want to spend more time listening to this, because this, my friend, could be an end game for a lot of you. If you like to sort of own your headphones, and if you like going by price points because of bragging rights, if you like thinking that something $6,000 is inevitably going to be better than something worth $3,500, then of course that's a different ball game. And then of course you want to upgrade from a Susvara to maybe a Shangla Senior or whatever else that comes that's more expensive than Susvara. However, if you want to be more critical of price points, and if you're a critical listener, with, let's say, and by critical I mean not someone who criticizes, but someone who has critical thinking, then this is something you should check out, guys. Like, I know these are early impressions. You might want to hold your horses, so to speak, until I do my final video, my Susvara AB and all that. So stay tuned for those, and you know, subscribe to my channel if you have not. But as for early impression, this was a solid first impressions. Great job, Zach. Amazing headphone. I can't wait to listen more. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.